This is the XNC Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, XNC Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox newscast. Welcome to the XNC Podcast. This is Colteastwood. Meg and I are super late because we were talking about what our next hairdo is going to be. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. This is episode 201. We were cranking right along, and we were getting close to the Xbox Game Showcase, Summer Games Fest from the Keeleys, as Tim Dog would say. We're happy to be here. I'm glad to be back. Spent the weekend out, and I went to Vegas. So my high school buddy, who I've known since 1987, and we haven't seen each other about 10 years, Mag, he was like, let's go see Sammy Hagar in Vegas. I go, all right, let's do it. So we got the tickets, and we just met there, and he's in Oregon, and I'm in Washington. So we hung out for about a day and a half, and we just hung out, went everywhere, and watched a great concert, fourth row, close enough to where I could, get the boob sweat off of Sammy Hagar. He's like 77 years old, and he's just rocking. They're amazing. And Joe Satriani was there, who looks like Mag. Satriani's like got your hairdo, big sunglasses, big shiny chrome guitar, and the cat.
Sorry, he jumped on my lap as soon as I started the show. What's that? What are you saying? Xbox. No, don't say anything about Xbox. Get out of here, stupid cat. Anyways, sorry.
Xbox Dad.
Dude, when I was in New Jersey, for my bachelor party, because I wanted to go to the boardwalk in New Jersey for my bachelor party, just to have a 3-day blowout from hell, right? And we ended up at this bar on the beach, right? And it was just packed with people, and there was all these people were really excited, and there was some dude behind the bar with some hair going on and whatever else, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And it was him, because it was Sammy Hagar's bar, and he was actually there serving. And I'm like, dude, Van Hagar is totally serving booze right now. And I'm like, yeah, it was so awesome.
Yeah, we missed him by that much.
Oh, man. Short end of the stick that poor guy got during the Van Halen days, even though he had some great hits and he's got a great voice and he's always been doing it, man. He reminds me a lot like, James Dio when he took over for Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
He was awesome and such a great stage presence, but everybody's like, he's not like Ozzy. And I'm like, what do you mean? A drunk corpse?
The people that know, Sammy Hagar got all the number one. They got all the number one hits with him, and I've gone through phases where I like both sides differently, but he's still killing it. So his he has Michael Anthony, the bass player from Van Halen, who's been the bass player since the mid '70s for that band, and so that was great. And their drummer is this guy named Kenny Aronoff. He looks like you too. He's got the shaved head like you, and he's all burly.
Everybody looks like Mag, folks.
Yeah, he's like Mag. It's like Mag up there drumming. He's played with everybody from Alanis Morissette to you name it. But it was a good time. It was just really cool. My buddy's like, bro, we're going to be 50. We need to get out there. And when I met up with him, you and I have talked about age lately. I was like, bro, I'm good with being 50. I'm going to be 50 next year. I'm totally good with it because thankfully we're very healthy. The games industry is not so healthy, but there have been so many great games to play, and getting back home from that trip and letting my legs and my back rest from all the walking, just getting back into games. And there's so much good stuff out, but there's a ton of bad news, and this thumbnail is very, I don't know what the word acerbic means, but my thumbnail is very nasty. But we're going to get into it. But how have you been, bro?
That's not very nice. Come on, Colteastwood. Brandon Christensen. We haven't even started the show. Mag has no hair to talk about. We were not here to talk about hair. We were here to talk about Sammy Hagar's wonderful hair for just a few moments. I have been a busy cat this weekend. I was up north, and we had an ice storm earlier in the spring, and it happens once every 4 or 5 years where there's that temperature change, and then all of a sudden it just like everything starts to melt and whatever else, and then it just plummets, and then we get thrust into this ice storm.
Yeah.
And it's like Mr. Freeze came up. He was like, "Ice to meet you," and like starts firing his gun everywhere. Of course, that's Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze. Yeah.
Now do the Mrs. Freeze from Gotham Knights. Yeah. Do that impression.
Are you kidding me? Jesus.
Oh, by the way,
do that.
Mag, speaking of Sammy, the shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Cabo.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, we hung out developers. We hung out in that bar twice, and after the concert was over, he said he was going to go to the Cabo Wabo Cantina. They're right in the middle of our freaking hotel. And so we went down there and we didn't see him. Then we went back upstairs because he was flying out. He needed to leave the room at 4 a.m. And when we were there at midnight that last night, the night before. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
And so we got ready for bed, and we had separate beds, which is kind of unfortunate.
I would hope so.
Yeah. So
only you and I share a bed.
Right. I mean, I said that's the rules. Like Mag, this guy from Canada, me and him, we spoon, and that there's nothing you can do about it.
Double bed only, folks. Not even a king size. Yeah.
So my buddy Brett, he's like, I pulled my contacts out, and he goes, "Let's go down there one more time." I go, "Absolutely, bro." I got up and got dressed again, and I said, "Let's go back down there." And it's just like right down the elevator and right out the lobby, and you're in Cabo Wabo Cantina restaurant. And we waited, and he ordered like a mocktail or something. And I'm like, "Let's go upstairs and just try to see him. Let's just try to find him. Let's just like bump into him. We got to do it." And he's like, "Nah." And he didn't want to like be that guy. I'm like, "Dude, you're not a weirdo. Like, you're not like wearing all this. You're not dressed up like Sammy Hagar. You don't like have photos of him like tattooed all over your body. You're just a normal 40-some-year-old guy. Like he'll take a picture with you." I said, "You got to go up there," because I've met some of my idols because you just go up there and just do it. And he kind of wouldn't move. And I go, "Bro, let's just go up there." He's like, "No, I don't want him to kick us out." Like, "They're not going to kick us out." And then this couple comes down, and he's like, "Oh, somebody's coming out." And this couple comes down, and they looked at us, and I said, "Did you see him?" And they're like, "Yeah, he just left." And I said, "Brett, dude." So like it would have been the ultimate thing for him because he's been a big Sammy fan since probably the day I met him in '87. So.
That's all good. All good. You got to see the show.
Yeah, it was
which
great.
Is the important. Right?
It was great.
There you go. So Ice Storm,
yes.
Everybody chill. And no, Crispy Bomb, I'm not doing that impersonation. He wants me to do Bender from Futurama. So what happened is the trees obviously got weighed down from the ice or whatever else. There was no power up there for like 10 days. This was back in March. But then it was the aftermath once everything was whatever and setting up for the summer, putting the dock out and all that kind of stuff with my brother-in-law and all that. And all the trees were sunken and just broke. And like there was even a 200-foot pine, a 200-foot pine tree. And the branches broke down. And we found them sunken about a foot and a half into the friggin' earth because the weight of them breaking off this giant tree, and then they were stabbing into the ground. And I'm like, dude, if any of us were here, this would have been like some Final Destination level stuff, right? Like you're just like, "Hey, how's it going?" And all of a sudden, like a tree branch goes through your body. So, anyways, we had to fix all that. So we were chainsawing, burning, and drinking for 2.5 straight days, and then we got home today. But it was a lot of work.
And drinking.
Dude, it was insane, man. I like every muscle, and I work out, every rib muscle and everything I had of like doing all that stuff. I'm just beat up. But anyways. I also been keeping up with all the gaming news and everything else that's been going on. I was gaming before I left. I did a little gaming today. We have some things to talk about, and not all happy stuff. But hey, that's kind of how it goes, right? Just like a marriage.
Yeah.
There's good days, there's bad days, and then there's just days in between. But we got things to talk about, so let's talk about it.
Oh, just like a marriage, huh? Yeah, we'd know about that, wouldn't we? Yeah. Yeah, we do have some things to talk about. I wanted to bring up kind of a sidebar before we get rolling.
Cool.
I took the ROG Ally with me for the plane stuff to Vegas, and I have a confession to make. I do not like handhelds. I think they're awful.
Yeah, I have trouble with the screens. Like, I mean, they're beautiful, whatever else, but it's just I can't do it because I'm strained. Not maybe because I'm getting older, but like I need like the bigger. I need a bigger screen to see what the hell's going on. You know what I mean? I don't get that experience like on the smaller screen, and I'm not paying $700 to do it. So I'm like, nah. Canadian, okay? Before anybody gets all worked up.
No, mine was 700 US.
US, okay. So for us, that's $1,100 up here.
I have many gripes. One of them was, I plug this thing in and I turn on like Steam, Ubisoft, Rockstar, EA. I open up all those programs so I can figure out what couple of games I want to install. First of all, I have like 3 or 4 games installed, and it's like, you don't have enough room to put Star Wars Outlaws on there. I'm like,
yeah. God. It's like having a Series S. It's like having a Series S when you have Call of Duty on there. All of a sudden, you can't even download an 8-bit game after Call of Duty destroys that hard drive. Carry on.
Yeah. So I'll get right to the point. Is that it took an hour plus to download and install Star Wars Outlaws, which I already have on my computer, to put it on my ROG Ally, because you have to install it over Wi-Fi, which is, probably 30 megabits per second or 40 megabits per second is all you can really do. And then I go to try it out, make sure it's loaded and ready, so if I'm offline, I can play it, because most games are dependent upon that. Star Wars Outlaws was 720p at the lowest settings, and it was running like a freaking flip book. And I'm like, is this the experience we're getting in 2025 with a $700 handheld? Like, is this what happens on the Steam Deck? And then there's the whole thing, like I loaded GTA 5. I'm trying to do the simple mission of chasing down Michael's boat and shooting out the car with the pistol. And with the controller, like my aim is I can't even see the reticle. And I wear contacts, so my eyes are so good it's just, the reticle's like microscopic on a screen like that. The point is that the whole experience, waiting for the thing to boot up, waiting for everything to open, waiting for every game to come up, it's like the console or a PC is so much faster. I just started to learn the more and more that I use it. I'm like, man, why should I be excited about the next ROG Ally? Or is the Xbox experience, the Xbox handheld, going to be so much better? And I think there's a lot of concerns that need to be addressed before we start to like salivate over the next handheld. I don't know. That's just, I just need to say.
I mean, I'm not interested. I do my gaming at home. I don't really travel outside of, like, whenever I go on vacation or whatever, or if I go up north. But even when I go up north, it's only a couple of hours. Like, it's not like I'm getting on like a train, and they're like, next stop Berlin, next stop Switzerland, next stop, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going anywhere. And then when I'm up north, I'm not really gaming unless it's a rainy day.
Sure.
The rest of the time I'm outside touching grass and whatever else, and all that kind of business. But either way, if I'm not there, I'm working. And when I'm not working, I'm at home, probably working again. And if I'm not doing that, then I'm on YouTube making videos or doing whatever I'm doing. So my gaming time is so limited. There is literally no financial reason for me to own a handheld, right? I mean, if you traveled constantly, then I would look into an option. I've seen some people even go as far as, remember they used to have those little Series S's with the little screen attached. Those were cute. Remember that? Like it was almost like a laptop.
That actually might be something more suited to me playing, because I have been traveling a lot. I went to Vegas, went to Chicago last month, went to San Francisco, or LA before that. I went to Amsterdam and London and LA, and I've just been a lot of places, and I've spent so much time waiting in the airport after check-in, sitting on the plane, and what I realized is I sit down, we get in there, and you're crammed in with all these people, and who likes human beings? And then the plane starts to like rumble and take off, and I just go, and I just take a half an hour nap. And then when I wake up, and I'm like,
I don't know how you can do it, man, but I'm terrified of flying. So I'm a whole different thing. So like when the plane is taking off, I'm literally speaking to the Lord Christ. I'm just like, all right, Jesus, here's the plan, dude.
He's right here.
And I'm like, listen, man, I've done a lot of things in this world, and I always have the conversation with God, and I'm just like, I just need you to get me there one more time.
This is a long one,
and I'm like,
right?
let me sweat dripping down my brow, and I'm like freaking out because I don't like to fly, even with Ativan under my tongue, and I'm still talking to God, and I'm like, just get me through this one more time. Let me get, like, come on. I promise you I won't do that again to those prostitutes. Please, Lord, let me get away with it just one more time. Anyways, all joking aside.
What's the takeoff is the scariest part for you? Because mine is the landing. When you're coming in, I'm like, oh, I hope they're leveled out, or I hope they don't slam the tarmac too hard.
The landing is actually not bad for me. The reason why is because I'm closer to the ground, and I'm like, I look out and I'm like, okay, I see tops of buildings. That means I
can tuck
might
and roll
die.
from here.
Yeah, I'm like, I might die. And then I'm like, okay, I could see street lights. I'm like, street lights, yes. If we crash, I'm still gonna be probably burnt, but I'll be okay. And then I'm like, and then when we get even further down, I'm like, we'll slide on the end of the thing and just we'll be fine. So like it just never stops unless it's never mind. I was about to make a joke that I'm probably getting a lot of trouble for. Anyways, yeah, so I was just like, no, flying is not my thing. The Series S thing, I had a question about that. Obviously, you have to plug it in, right? Because I've seen the thing. It's like a flip book. It's like a laptop, right? And then you just open it up and it's already, you got the Series S there, you got your little controller. At least you wouldn't be losing like the performance, right? Because it'd be the same as playing on a Series S. The only thing is you'd have to probably pay for online, right? I would imagine like you have to pay for Wi-Fi like on a plane and stuff. Or
I'd have to make sure that whatever I installed was not owned by me. That's the funny part about game sharing. I would have to say, what is GAAS own? Because GAAS and I game share. And
right. Yeah.
So I would have to play whatever belongs to him because I wouldn't want to change the home console thing. But most planes have a plug-in in front. What's that?
Yeah, they got the plug-in, and then well, you got to pay for Wi-Fi while you're up there. Like they, little package, like pay X amount of dollars.
Yeah, I've only done that once in my life when I was flying overseas. One last thing on the way there, I had the screen in front of me, and I had a plug-in. I plugged in my Bose, plugged it straight in, and I watched a movie. And I was like, "That's cool." On the way back, the screen was a bit smaller, and there's no plug-in. And I'm like, "What is this for? How am I supposed to listen to the movie?" There was no thing anywhere. There was no like menu thing that says, "Here's how you connect to Bluetooth." I don't know. I was just perplexed. The screen was a little bit.
Bring like a tablet. I always bring a tablet or myself. Obviously, I always have my.
I mean, they have like 100 movies packed in, but on the way home, the screen was a bit smaller, and it was like an older model, and there was no plug. Yeah. I'm like, and I'm looking everywhere. I'm like, what did they expect? Am I an idiot?
Nah, bring your own stuff, bro.
Yeah,
bring your own stuff. I bring a tablet. I got my phone. I got
obviously
I got my Bluetooth headphones. And then what I do is when I go to Prime or Netflix, just you download offline, so you can watch the stuff offline after you just download it right to your hard drive, and then off you go. And actually, one flight I'll never forget this. A couple years ago, I came back from the Dominican Republic, and shout out to Crazy Lou, and I was watching the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was on Netflix. And I'm sitting there just loving this movie, right? Because it was actually really good. And I was really enjoying it because a lot of the newer Texas Chainsaw Massacres are not very good. This one was really good. And I got the tablet up there like this, and I'm just like watching this movie and completely oblivious that the lady beside me was horrifically offended by what I was watching, because when I got up to go to the bathroom, she was just like this. Her face the whole time, because all she had to do was just avert her eyes ever slightly to the right and just seeing decapitations and like hammers to the face and other horrible things, right? And I'm just having the time of my life. But anyways, whatever. She enjoyed the movie by the end.
She enjoyed it. By the end, you guys were holding hands and sharing snacks. Or not. I was sitting next to a lady who did this the whole time. I'm like...
What, she was doing yoga?
No, she just had her elbows like on both armrests extending over there. And I'm like...
Was she hot?
I'll just...
If she's hot, you can let her get away with it. But if she's not, you smack that elbow right off with your elbow to be like, that's my armrest. Yeah.
She looked like you with curly hair, so I guess she was kind of hot.
Oh, for the love of Christ, you should elbow her in the face. Like Schwarzenegger does in Commando, and then the pillow over the face. Don't bother my friend.
I kept calling her Maggie.
He's dead tired.
Maggie on the plane. Let's talk gaming. We're here to talk. We're here to talk. We're
not here to talk about airplanes.
Yeah, we were here before the show. We were kind of like talking about all the stuff we want to cover. Let's get right into the PlayStation news, because they've been dominating the headlines. And you and I talk about everything on the show. We talk about PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo and Grand Theft Auto 6 way too much. But what's going on with PlayStation has been very difficult, because their games as a service push has been an absolute dumpster fire of a disaster. And there's no console worrying about it, because if PlayStation puts out a game that I want to play, I'm going to play it. And same for you, of course. And like, I enjoyed the few matches I played at Destruction All-Stars, but then I was like, I don't know if I'll go back to it, and the game fell on its face. Like, I just want cool games. Nothing about Bungie's Marathon has even remotely piqued our interest or has got us thinking that we would ever really play it, let alone sideline Borderlands 4. Meg, can you tell? Well, I'll start before I ask you about that.
Sure. Go ahead.
A former developer, which is always the former developer. I think
always. This
is probably fairly true, but you can say these things when you're a former developer because then you can't get fired from the place you formerly worked at, air quotes ×9. The former dev at Bungie said that the morale's at a free fall and that the workplace is extremely toxic and that Bungie needs to reevaluate and replace all of their leadership. But those problems do not have anything to do with the major fallout that happened this week. And for those who don't follow the PlayStation news, Maggie, tell them what Bungie's big marathon problem was this past last week.
Well, first of all, I just want to preface this by saying that I never, like, even remotely was interested. Even when they showed the teaser, remember the teaser, like way back when they showed that weird looking chick in the outfit running, and I'm just like, what is this? And then they finally told us what it was, and I was like, wow,
you're not allowed to call them chicks. You have to call them broads on this show. We don't use
broads.
Chicks. So we have to say broads.
So you remember we saw this dingy broad, and she's she's wearing this velour suit. Anyways, some girl running around and whatever, and I'm like, why does she look so weird? What the hell is that?
The white
robot,
paint and the weird makeup.
Yeah, and I'm like, what are you? Right? Anyways, we finally find out what the game is, and I'm like, wow, now I'm really disinterested. I'm like, and then they showed the game, and I'm like, please. I'm going to throw myself out the window before this trailer ends. Like, this is horrible. This just looks like everything I don't want to play, right? And that's unfortunate. But hey, not every game is for every gamer. Mr. Boomstick says that. Good friend of mine. Go sub to his channel immediately, and mine. Anyways, in all seriousness,
shameless plug.
The first. Then they started showing the game that was concerned. Then there was a closed beta. There was even more concern. So they're like, okay,
we're getting the whole preamble from you, Mac.
Well, yeah, we got to set it up for some people who didn't know what's going on. And so then they started getting some feedback.
Yeah.
Right? And then they're like, okay, well, we're going to work on this feedback. But then we started hearing that the feedback was a lot of feedback, not just like, well, you guys could tweak this and tweak this. Otherwise, thumbs up. And then they had this beta that just happened. And all you had to do was look at some of the big influencers out there. You see their faces while they're playing this beta. They look like Christmas was canceled. Like, it was the worst faces I've ever seen. These guys are just like, what the hell is going on? This game...
I wasn't watching that stuff either.
Oh, dude, I just caught, like, glimpses of it here and there, and I was watching a little bit of gameplay here and there. I think Reforge was playing it for a bit. No one's liking this game. It really doesn't seem to have much...
Would be probably a better...
Loving it.
No one's loving it.
Sorry. No one's loving it. Some people are like, all right, it's okay, it's passable. But you know what? To be fair, so was Concord. It was a shooter that worked. It just didn't work for the players, and it wasn't good. But it still was you know what I mean? It was still a comparable shooter. You could still run around and shoot stuff. It wasn't like, it was freezing or crashing or anything like that. It just wasn't a good game.
Yeah.
This seems to be the same situation, but at this point, my personal opinion, I'll keep this very brief. I just think that this game should just not exist. And I mean, I know they've already canceled enough, and they've had big PR with their games as a service stuff. PlayStation's doing fine with the other stuff. I think
they're doing really good with their other stuff.
Yes. So what I'm thinking PlayStation should do, and they will do eventually, is start to focus on what you do really well. And that is what they've been doing for several generations now. And it's obviously worked for them. They're still doing incredibly well now, but this games as a service experiment outside of Outriders, which is not even them, that was done by somebody else. They just published it. It's been a failure, and it's going to continue to be a failure. I think you should just drop it. Everybody's chasing this golden goose. Everybody thinks they're going to have the next Apex, which I heard Apex is dropping off now. People aren't playing it as much. You still got Fortnite is still in there, but not everybody's going to be a Fortnite, Warzone, and Apex. It's not going to happen, or an Overwatch or whatever. Marvel Rivals was doing incredibly well. I don't know how it's doing now. I'm not really following it. I didn't like the game. It's not my style of game, but I could tell you this. Sony specifically I think needs to drop this and start focusing on what they do incredibly well.
Well,
That's
I mean, they won't.
There's no mystery to this. You know what I'm saying?
I don't. They can't drop it. Paul Tassi.
Well, they did already.
Paul Tassi of Forbes reported that if Marathon does not get into the top 5 for MPD sold games when it launches, it will be a financial disaster and failure.
Sure.
And
sure.
Paul Tassi said it won't. That it will not be in the top 5 MPD. It's not going to be a big seller at the $40 or $50 price point. One of the major outfalls that happened for Bungie's Marathon this past week was, oh gosh, I'm blanking on her name. An artist's graphic designs were stolen and used to decorate this like cyberpunk post-apocalyptic world. Art is Life, I think is her name. I didn't dive in. It's like a lot of the YouTubers and content creators were diving into this stolen thing. And me as a graphic designer, that one hit home pretty hard when people steal and borrow your stuff and use it. I have a lot of infographics I built, kind of like I try to do stuff as amazing as Ben Kenobi from Xbox Art or Clobril. They create this really great stuff. And I've created similar like montage or compilation type graphics. And then I see other people in the community post them over and over. They're just borrowing them. Like sometimes I'm like, they got like 2,000 likes and that's mine. They didn't credit me, but I just say that to myself because I'm like, I put it out there. It's not like they don't need to write me a letter and ask for permission, but I know what it's like. But this Art is Life, anti-real. Thank you, 509. Thank you so much. Anti-real is the name. I knew it was an anti thing, but art. Yeah, thank you so much. It's very important I get that name right. I appreciate the chat for watching out for the show. We appreciate you guys so much.
We love you. Chat, you're the best.
Yes, thank you. Anti-real did a bunch of these cool. I don't even know what the art style is because I'm kind of a weird artist. I don't study all that stuff. But it really cool, like industrial design. And these placards and like signs were used all over in the world. And this artist, formerly at the Bungie that used it, plagiarized this stuff, no longer works there. Well, this is a massive outfall. And what happened last week was Anti-Real said, oh, look, they use my stuff and they don't even have the common decency to give me any credit or to hire me or to, pay me for my work. And I'm unemployed. I'm a struggling graphic designer and this major AAA multi-million-dollar project game is stealing my artwork and I'm just hanging in the breeze. A couple of days ago, Bungie's team did a live stream to showcase some of the footage and the gameplay for Marathon right 2 days before this all happened. So on Twitch, they did the stream and they were spammed relentlessly from hundreds of users saying, what was the saying? If I plagiarize, I am God or something like that. It must be some well-known saying, but plagiarism makes me God or something like that. They were spamming it over and over. And there's an image of one of the devs at Bungie like this, Mag. Just looking at the chat like, this sucks so bad. And you're laughing, and I know that people, if there's like 2 extra people that showed up tonight, thank you for being here and I'm sorry that you were here because you thought that we were going to bash PlayStation into the ground or you think that I hate them.
No.
I do not. This really sucks. And I told Meg right before we went live, I said, what we're going to talk about part of the show tonight is that PlayStation's amazing, but they are cursed. They are absolutely cursed when it comes to live service games because the other bit of news that broke this week is that they partner with Haven Studios, Jade Raymond's like big new venture to make this game called Fair Games. PlayStation said, hey, you're making this game just for us. She's up and left the studio a year and a half before this game is supposed to be revealed and launched. So that's the other thing I want to talk about. Before I get into that, we've got Logic Bomb. Yep. Thank you so much for the $2 super. Says, my Sphinx, Mag Sphinx, name Brody, nickname Scrody.
Oh my God.
Hairless Sphinx.
Yeah, well, we know why.
Love that. Love that for you.
He might make an appearance later.
Scrody. My good friend Red Wolf Renegade, thank you so much for the super. Says, talk about Starfield. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, we didn't talk about what we were playing, but I finished Doom the Dark Ages. And we might talk about that. We are. There is an interesting news piece about Doom the Dark Ages we're going to get into a little bit, but I went back to Starfield because after Doom the Dark Ages, I didn't want to go back to Expedition 33 because I took a week and a half away from it to play Doom and review it. And there was something about going back to Starfield with a few mods, and Red Wolf and I have this music playlist that we play in the background. And it was just a nice, comfy thing to do before I got ready to go to Vegas. So I've been doing that. I didn't ask you what you were playing, Mag. We'll get back into Bungie and PlayStation's mess here in a second. But what were you playing?
Not really all that eventful. I was super busy at work last week. Remember I told you, I said I accidentally started playing the Resident Evil 2 remake, and I'm like,
oh my gosh,
I can't stop, dude. I can't stop. So I literally dropped all the new games. Doom, Expedition 33, haven't touched any one of them. It's just all of a sudden Resident Evil 2 remake just got me by the, and that's it, man. I just been playing that, but also, yeah, and well, let's not forget, I was also away this weekend because I had to do some damage control up north. You know what I mean? So I haven't been this last 8 days or so, 10 days. I haven't been gaming as much as I normally would have.
Yeah. Same.
But it's been so much stuff in the real world stuff. I released 5 videos 2 weeks ago. This week I released two videos already, and then starting maybe tomorrow or the next day I'm going to be releasing more videos. So you know what I mean? Like, it's so much time, and so much to do, not enough time is what I was trying to say. But yeah, I just been playing Resident Evil 2 because it's so accessible and it's right there. I got to get back in Expedition 33, and I gotta move my butt on that a little bit and get back in there, and then I could finally get into Doom the Dark Ages properly. And, really
I meant to text you today and like, did you get a chance to play Doom? I want to ask you about this thing with Bungie's stolen artwork. Like, I want to get your opinion on this because you're a content creator. I don't know, what was your like initial takeaway, and what do you think is what's going to happen with this? Or did you dive into it at all? Because you didn't even bring it up.
I know.
Is this news to you because you've been out of it?
It's not news to me. Huh? No. I'd still like check my phone, like, you know what I mean, like every hour or so. I still look at my phone. I scroll through, see what all the news is. I get a million DMs from different people, whether in the industry or out of the industry, friends, fans. So I'm always in the know. It's just I didn't do any videos about it or anything, but
I wouldn't expect that. So what do you think of the thing of the stolen artwork? And
well, lawsuits will be a thing if it can be proven appropriately. That will be the next thing, right? They'd be able to get the licensing back.
How about this? Kind of stuff. What would you do, Mag? Let's pretend that Mag. Look at him. Just look at him. What would you do, Mag?
Everybody's saying they're going blind.
What would you do if you were helping run Bungie, and this news just broke that one of your artists stole artwork, and the internet was ablaze, and they were knocking on your door? What would what response be? Because we don't have this from Bungie yet, other than the apology, and we don't do this. I want to hear it from what would Mag do?
Well, you're going to have to do an investigation. That's first thing, an internal investigation. Find out what's going on. Find out if this is legitimate or if this is, like, you know what I mean? And then that would obviously be a fireable offense at that point, which then Bungie would have to distance themselves from it, because then what's going to happen is there will be legal liability with the company. And then, of course, they will sue the company as opposed to the individual artist. So what the corporation would try to do is separate the person from the corporation and be like, listen, dude, if you're getting sued, it's all on you now. Bungie had nothing to do with this, so they're going to wash their hands clean of this. From a corporate level, that's what they do. They distance themselves, and they try to remove any kind of responsibility, because
and put it on the developer that actually did it.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, because in the end, it's actually not Bungie's fault as a company. It's not the executives who did that. They don't know what everybody is doing in the company. It's the same with my company. We've got tens of thousands of employees. Can I monitor what every single person is doing? No. I can't even monitor the stuff that's even happening in my own building. And then you find out about it a week later. They're like, we had the situation. I'm like, okay, what happened? And then they'll tell me the situation. I'm like, when did this happen? And like 8 days ago. And I'm like, why am I fighting about this? And that's what happens.
Yeah.
And so when the next move is self-preservation. So the company will work on self-preservation. Sony is obviously going to step in. They own them. And Sony is going to be a lot more hard-nosed about it. They're going to be like, shut this down now. Distance yourself.
If you have a 200, let's say that Marathon is a $200 million project. Okay.
That's fair enough. That's probably fair statement. Fair statement. Yeah.
I'm going to play devil's advocate, Mag, that what was stolen was many different graphics that are on walls and kind of decorate industrial items on walls and environments. On a $200 million project, how much is that worth? Say, because they're like, it's our bad, our guy. You're right. He totally stole your stuff. It's 10% of the game. Like what? How do you do that? You just look at this.
Not even. What you would do at that point?
What is it? What's your take on that?
Okay, let's break this down a little bit easier here. As I was saying before, you distance yourself. That's the first thing. You separate the company from the situation. Now, if it's already in the final product, or not the final product, if it's in the working title, the next step is you have two options. And I could absolutely tell you the corporation doesn't want to do option number one. Option number one is to pay the real artist a certain percentage of money to utilize that artwork in the game.
Why do they not want to do option number one? That sounds like
because you've already paid an artist who stole it. Because you've already paid the guy who did it, the guy who stole it. You've already paid him to do that artwork. So what you would do at that point?
So they've already allotted they've already allotted $50,000 or $100,000 to pay that guy like Jimmy to do the art design or art direction.
Damn it, Jimmy!
Okay. Keep going. Sorry.
So you're not going to pay twice. Okay. So what's going to happen is they're not going to do a payout to the actual artist unless this goes to court. That's a whole different thing. Then it gets tied up in legalities for years. But at that point, or they settle outside of court, they could do that as well. But the problem is now that it's actually in the game, the artwork and is in the game. Now they would have to scrub it from the game. Or
but the game's not out yet, so that's a good thing, right? The game's not out, so it's not being sold.
They could scrub it.
Okay.
They could scrub it, right? So they could go back in and they could just remove it, right? They could do that, and then they could still have a lawsuit on their hands, which could still be tied up or whatever. Settle out of court. That's a possibility to keep things nice and quiet. Get that problematic situation out of the way. Definitely fire the guy. Jimmy,
which I think they either did or he'd already moved on, but I don't know. I never dug into it.
Right. Someone in the chat mentioned it that it's always convenient that it's someone who just left or whatever, right? But either way, what Bungie's going to do at this point, like I said, remove all kind of responsibility from them. So scrub it from the game. The guys already now they're going to have to chase. Now they're going to on a legal level. She's going to have to chase the artist.
Oh, she will have to separately instead of going after Bungie. You think she would have to actually file something?
Well, because they can. Yeah, because they could literally say, we had nothing to do with this. We did not know. The man has moved. Jimmy's moved on. You're going to have to go after him. We will scrub everything from the game as it's not released yet, and we'll remove all of it from there, send out an apology, and that's all they're going to do because corporations do not want to pay you, even if you're in the right. Just like an insurance company. Even when you're in the right and you've been paying insurance for 20 years and all of a sudden you need the money that you've been paying for all that time, they don't want to pay you. That's just the way it is. And so they're gonna, like I said, they're gonna separate themselves from the situation, walk away. They're not gonna do the right thing because corporations never, folks, look at me in the camera here. Corporations never do the right thing. They do what's best for them. That's why you don't trust them. There you go. There's my lesson for the day. Even though I work for one, I'm telling you from the inside, this is exactly why you don't trust them. They will, if they could get away with not paying the actual artist, they will do so. And by doing that, like I said, they will scrub it from the game and then remove all responsibility, saying, "Oh, sorry, not our bad. It's his bad. Go after him." You can go after that person now at that point.
Wow,
that's it.
I wouldn't think they would be able to get themselves free and clear of that. I would assume they wouldn't be able to. But
you know how fast news moves these days, right?
Yeah, in seconds, microseconds.
In 2 days, everybody in this chat, myself and you, will not even remember this conversation. You know why? Because we're moving on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And corporations
you're going to do the whole Men in Black thing. And you're like,
yeah, they love that the news moves so fast because it moves so quickly that you don't even really pay attention. And when everybody's outraged today about it, by tomorrow they'll be like, who? You know, like the chick who was, saying all that racist stuff or whatever. And then and it was all outraged about it. A day later, nobody even remembered it. And then everybody's on to the next thing.
They get bored. And then on to the next witch hunt.
And then on to the next thing. And so that's what these corporations bank on. They bank on the fact that you will just move on to the next thing. It's out of the public eye. At that point, then if you want to, like I said, you want to go to the legalities of it, these corporations, Bungie, Sony, in this particular case, they have the best team of lawyers next to Microsoft's team of lawyers, next to Meta's team of lawyers, next to Amazon's team of lawyers, next to Apple's, same thing. And they have an army of the best people on the planet that will destroy you. And you will walk away with nothing. Yeah. Unless you have something that is so justified that they'll be like, all right, you know what? We can't do anything about this. We're going to lose. Pay her out or pay him out or whatever. Pay them out, shut them up, give them $250,000, give them $500,000, get them out of our face, and then just let them be on their merry way. They can go buy a cottage and just go away. And that's what they'll do. But this is not that situation. They will remove responsibility. Yes, Carrie.
Yes, NG, the atheist in the chat said something kind of funny that I'm gonna side with. Don't trust them artists. They like to thief art. I can tell you I can tell you all the time. My graphic design is borrowed or emulated from someone else's great work. My cartoon drawings are a ripoff of Simpsons and Calvin and Hobbes. That's like how I learned how to create my cartoon characters.
It's not ripping. It's not really ripping off. I think you're taking inspiration from.
Absolutely.
Right?
My guitar playing takes inspiration from a couple of different people.
I was going to say it's like music.
But I guarantee that Anti-Real's inspiration and art, when I saw her stolen artwork, I would say as a fellow graphic designer, she probably borrowed a good 80% of those designs from something else she saw and made them her own.
That's a new point.
But didn't steal them. Point. But what this developer did, this designer at Bungie did, was take her art and change the color or crop out segments of it and use them and repurpose them. And when your job is to decorate with decals the environment of your video game, and that's like one of the things you're tasked with in a video game studio, it would probably it would be an easy idea to take things and rework them, you know. We almost had the opportunity here to interview a environmental artist that was working for Arcane when Xbox first acquired them. And her job, Sadie Boyd, was to create storefront logos, neon signs, decorative like advertisements to make the world look real. And a lot of that, you want to do that from scratch, but you're probably borrowing from things. Just imagine the world of Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be loaded full of things that just emulate real life, and there's going to be some borrowed and emulated stuff in there. One last rapid fire thing. What's that?
Yeah. Go ahead. No, I was saying that's where it gets muddy, right? Sure. Because then when you're trying to prove, like, let's say in a court of law at this point, let's say she takes it to a court of law and say, listen, this is what's happening here. Doing a lawsuit against this particular gentleman. Obviously, like I said, I'm not saying Bungie will get away with it. I'm just saying they will attempt to. I should clarify what I was saying 5 minutes ago. They will attempt to distance themselves from it and all responsibility of it, and they'll put it on the individual.
But they know their name is fully entrenched in this problem, right?
Their name is fully entrenched. There's nothing they could do about that. However, they will still try to distance themselves from a financial situation, a legal financial situation in regards to that. I wish I could talk about a case. I would tell you. I'll tell you off the air because I'm not allowed to talk about it in public, obviously. But there's a case that's happening with one of our buildings in San Diego, and it's same thing. Like immediately the company was like, it was her. You know what I mean? And then even though it was within their walls, and then they just threw her to the wolves, and it'd be like, no, man, it's her. But then, what ends up happening is the families will still come in and say, well, actually, that her that you're pointing at, you're trying to distance yourself from, still works for you and it's a representative of you, regardless of whether you knew what was happening or not. So there's arguments on both sides that could work. Now it just depends on how solid of evidence she has. I think it was Maverick in the chat. I just looked over and said that that she had watermarked her work.
Yeah, that she'd hidden stuff in there.
Right. So if it is so blatantly obvious, well, then she will win that case. And then, but it doesn't mean she's going to win money. It just means that she might just win her artwork back.
I think she will. DeMarco Dude, good friend in the chat, says anyone above the age of 7 knows the difference between plagiarism and inspired by, and it's so true. It's obviously plagiarism. And as who else was this in the chat? Gosh darn it. You guys, thank you so much for writing in the chat. One of you said that that Bungie already admitted their fault to it, which they have to because it was their employee that did it. But one other thing was, I want to get this from the chat. Sir Riffs a lot says the Florida Joker already tried getting Rockstar to pay him. I saw another report today that there's a guy with like dreads. Yeah. I don't know if that's the Florida Joker or somebody different. There's a tattooed face guy. Then there was the black guy with the dreads and the gold and kind of the grill. And he's like doing the, the high five thing. He tried to go after Rockstar and say, that's me. So Rockstar kind of went in and already changed.
Okay, so the next game where there's a bald guy, I could sit there and go, that's me. Yep. That's me. Yep. Like, I mean, there's a million. What did you just say when we started the show? You know what I mean? When we started the show about Sammy Hagar.
You look like the guitar player. You look like the guitar player and the drummer, yeah.
Yeah, so Satriani and the drummer both look like me. So, like, what, you know what I mean? Am I going to sue Sammy Hagar? Because, I'm just joking. But anyways, the point is Florida Joker lost that case, okay? Yeah. He lost that one.
He was the tattoo face guy?
Yeah. It was that guy. But, like, they were going to lose it anyway. I see there's a super chat there from Danny Passion, and he was like, before Boner Jams there. Do you want me to read it? Can I read it? Or was there super chats
go ahead.
Before?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Danny Patchen Official, good friend of mine. $2. He says, Mag, they already admitted on a live stream. Yes.
That was it. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so, but what I'm saying is, I get that, but at that point, I'm saying Bungie will continue to try to remove responsibility from themselves as a company, not the individual, right? So they will try to do that so that they don't, try to get sued for millions of dollars. Because, everybody always puts some exorbitant number out there. It's like, lady sues McDonald's for $99 million. She walks away with $350,000.
Yeah, I mean, like the Florida Joker thing, so, like the guy's in one trailer. How much is he in the game? Like you can run into him many times maybe. So he's in 3% of the game. So how much do you really need to pay these people if they win the lawsuit? And one rapid fire question I have to ask is,
oh, I didn't see that, Broke Boy. Sorry, dude.
I got to catch up on a few things. But one rapid fire thing I have to ask is,
of course,
will Bungie delay the game this year? And the other question is, will Marathon succeed or will it completely fail? I'll give my opinion first.
Go ahead.
I don't think they're going to delay the game. That's just my guess. I don't know. I just think they won't. I think they're going to hold true. And I don't think the game is going to be anything other than a failure. I don't think it's going to have its like Cinderella moment. I don't know if that's the right analogy, but I just can't see enough people have talked about Marathon where it hasn't excited them. It hasn't, it offers so little for $50 when you could possibly be looking at $100 Grand Theft Auto 6 next year that has one of the best campaigns potentially, and one of the biggest and best multiplayer live service games in 2026. And then Bungie is going to probably sell this thing for $40 or $50, and it has like a few game modes. So, Mag, what do you think is going to happen with Marathon once it lands and when it lands?
First of all, you're saying something very serious, right? And I'm trying not to laugh, and I glance over the chat, and Papa Baco 72 goes, Mag, they already had you in a game, Ancestors.
Oh, jeez.
I'm trying not to laugh while you're having this serious conversation. Should they delay it? Yes. Will they delay it? I don't think so. Yeah. I think they're going to soldier through this thing and just get it out there, because the longer you delay, the more bad press you're going to continue to get, right? And it's going to keep mounting, and it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where it's going to be so insurmountable that no matter what they come up with, let's say a year later, everyone is going to crap all over it no matter what. So I think that you just have to soldier on and get this thing done. Will it succeed? I don't think so at all. I think that a $40 or $50 US price tag is absolutely ludicrous for a game with no story, no campaign, no deep multiplayer. This is not it for 40, 50 US dollars. In Canada, that's $70. Okay. In Canada, plus tax, it's $80 for this game. Okay. That is not going to fly up here. People aren't even buying other AAA games that are coming out now in Canada because they're $110. Mm-hmm. And so people are just balking at it. They're like, I'll wait for a sale. Even if I'm not, and I know a lot of guys who are not on Game Pass, who don't have Game Pass, and they're waiting for these games to go on sale. Like Doom the Dark Ages is one of them. And they're not going to buy it. They're like, listen, I heard it's great and whatever else. I'm not paying $110 for Doom. I'm not doing it. So I'll wait till it's 50% off or whatever else, and then I'll get it. And then that's what's going to continue to happen. But anyways, the point is $40, $50 for something that's as shallow as what we saw with Marathon. It's not going to fly. It's not going to work. It's not going to succeed in that way. They're going to have to do what they did with Battlefield 2042, whatever the hell it was called. And after like a couple of months of failure, just go free to play and stop being idiots about it. Just go free to play, put it out there. You know, I was going to say something far worse. And the thing is, what's so disappointing with Bungie, they have the studio. I'm not saying all the same people are there. Obviously, they're not. But you have the studio to make AAA shooters, like a shooter game, a real, like, story-driven game. You could make like a Titanfall 2, a Halo 3, for Christ's sake. You could be doing all those things. Just make a first-person shooter. It could be sci-fi game or whatever. Have a big, huge, story. You put $200 million into it. Like, Jesus, how much does it cost to be able to, you're putting together a big AAA story-driven experience? They could have done all that.
They want to get lightning in a bottle and make this extraction shooter.
But at $200, Colt, this is not like $5 where like the Maple Leafs are losing 4-1 and I throw to my cousin, I'm like, dude, put $5 on the Leafs to win. And you know what I mean? Like, it's not like that's a small gamble. You're going to lose. But I mean, it's a small gamble that you can afford to get away with. $200 million is not a small gamble. That's insanity.
There is a theme that I want to talk to you about a little bit later in the show, which comes to, lightning in a bottle service game or a game that's so popular, everyone's talking about it. And it's one thing Xbox is doing amazing lately, but they have not made the game where everyone is talking about it and everyone's playing it. We'll get into why that is and what that means. But Mag and I are sitting on the opinion that they probably won't delay Marathon and that probably will not be much more than a floundering, dare I say, failure.
Within the same period of time. Sorry, I'm going to get this out of my system here. Same period of time, you've got Borderlands 4 launching.
$80.
Mafia is not, I know, but still, it's going to do incredibly well.
Yes or no? Is the $80 dissuading you from picking that up first week?
No.
Okay.
No. Because
all
Borderlands,
your scruples go out the window. It's like,
no. I don't have.
I know. I'm
No.
I know.
I'm not. No. I don't get angry about I'm getting pissed off with like some of the price. I'm like, yo, this is getting expensive. I have to pick and choose very carefully my third-party games and first-party Sony games, which are not really, not many right now. It's very.
You sound like Shuhei Yoshida right now because he's like, $80 are fine. Just be picky about what you want to play.
Well,
there's some of that I agree with.
Like GTA 6. Okay, GTA 6 comes out, let's say it's $90. People are still going to pay $90 no matter what. They're going to be pissed off about it, but they're still going to pay the $90. And it's just the way it's going to be. People are going to buckle for quality, if it's quality. But the thing is, people will be a lot more picky and choosy right now when it comes to that stuff. But Borderlands is coming out the same week, all right? The last one, which I'd already told you, which was considered the least critically successful, was still selling 17 to 20 million copies, right? It's going to do incredibly well. I can't remember the exact number. I had it.
Yeah, it was something like that. We covered it. Yeah.
Something like that, right? Same week as Marathon. 2 weeks later, Sony themselves have Ghost of Yotei coming out, which I don't doubt is going to be a massive success. Yeah. And then a couple of weeks later, Microsoft has, we assume, Microsoft has Call of Duty coming out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Black
And
Ops
so
7
now
or something they're calling it.
Yeah, whatever the hell they're going to call it.
Yeah.
So you got the new Call of Duty from Microsoft coming out, Ghost Yote from Sony, and you've got third-party Borderlands 4, all within a month span of Marathon. Marathon doesn't stand a chance. It doesn't stand a chance. This game is going to fail. It sucks, but it's going to fail.
I hate that because you and I well know that there are people that they secretly want these, or they privately want these things to fail, but it's bad for everybody. But I'm sorry, when you put out a game that just doesn't resonate with most of the people that like got to play it in early access, like I'm gonna agree with you on what you said, Mag, when you said that. Gosh, I just blanked what I was gonna say because I flubbed my words. When you you said that, I don't even remember. Let me read this super chat from. I just agree with something you said earlier. How about that? Phase 23, Brooklyn, New York. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says a $20 super. I appreciate you. He says, if Bungie doesn't knock it out of the park with Marathon, Sony will take over Bungie and get rid of Bungie leadership. I think he's right.
Yeah.
I believe that PlayStation kind of did have a stipulation with them that if you don't meet these metrics that we have or this expectation, we will just fold you in and take over. And
absorb the talent and make a new studio out of them.
You don't think they'll hold on to that Bungie name? Because I don't think the Bungie name is ruined. I just think they've got kind of a sketchy game on their hands right now.
They got a sketchy game on their hands, and everybody can bounce back from a bad experience. I mean, you can have 3-4 movies. Let's say you're a big director. You could have a complete bomb, but it doesn't mean your career's over. You know what I mean? Spielberg has had flops. Is he still not revered as one of the greatest ever? Obviously, I'm not saying Bungie is, but like they can come back from this thing. You know, they can come back from it, but it's still problematic. I think that's this point they need to start scrapping this whole games as a service idea, walk away from it, and start focusing on what they do best.
Yeah,
and that's all there is.
Gaming Lifestyle in the chat says, "Don't forget about Scalebound." How can we forget about something that happened 8 years ago? Yeah, it's great. Or maybe it was 7 years ago. Gaming Lifestyle, that was Platinum Games' fault. They admitted fully that it was their fault, that they snowed Xbox. They took that money and made 7 other games and sat there and did not finish Scalebound.
Right.
They threw Xbox under the bus in 2017, and in 2019 or 2020, they finally had to come out and say it was all our fault. And Phil was pissed. Phil Spencer went to check on that game and said, what the crap are you guys doing? So, no, don't say, don't forget Scalebound. Say, don't forget Redfall, a studio that Xbox had just acquired, held on for 2 whole years, put out one of the worst rated games and the worst conditioned game in a decade. So don't forget about Redfall. Redfall was a massive failure. Let me catch up on Super's got great questions.
Yeah.
BT Maverick, thank you so much for the $10 super. We appreciate you. He said, it's not the same PlayStation of yesteryears. They've been stumbling for a while now. Barely any AAA first-party studio games. I'll add in there, barely any new first-party IPs, but they've been repeating the success of PS4 very well this generation. He says 13 failed GAAS games and counting, leadership dissolving, and now plagiarism. Plagiarism's on that guy at Bungie, but yeah, PlayStation is not the same. Xbox is not the same. For a lot of good or bad reasons. Thank you so much, Human Hulk, for the super chat. It's great show, guys. Been watching Colt since dealer gaming days. Whatever happened to that guy? Meg and I were talking about how we all found our way into this gaming community. And I've told the story many times, but this weekend I watched Angry Video Game Nerds video about the NES version of Dragon's Lair, which you have the cabinet, the amazing cabinet behind you.
Right there.
And Meg, what'd you say when I said Angry Video Game Nerd? What was the first thing you said?
He was the reason I started YouTube.
Yep.
Now, the thing is, I started paying attention to YouTube more often. Like, yeah, I go to YouTube here and there for like little things, but nothing serious. And then I'm like, oh my God, there's gaming on YouTube? I'm like, I thought I was just alone in this world. I mean,
he predates YouTube by a year or two. You know, him and Stuttering Craig and Game Trailers, like YouTube had not quite been off the ground yet, but He was also
That's
my
right.
inspiration to start making content. And so we had a good
and
laugh
that's how I
about
found
that.
it. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Let me
I
finish
gotta go watch
real-
that now because
yeah. Dude, I can't wait because I didn't know that game existed on the NES, and it was infuriating watching.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
I
you're gonna love
I
it.
thought it was just this, like the cabinet, and that was.
Oh
I mean, I
my
thought it was just
gosh.
the cabinet, and that was it. But no.
I don't even know how, like, recording that video must have been just painful for him. He's amazing. Human Hulk says, since Dealer, whatever happened to that guy? Last I talked to Dealer, the last thing he's doing is worried about YouTube and all the nonsense. Just by sheer, what would you say? Just by sheer luck. He just like took a break from everything when it was at its worst, because, you know, the gaming discourse has gotten worse over the past couple of years, and especially with Xbox making major changes. But last time I talked to him was like a few weeks ago. He was just like blasting through games and even playing stuff on PlayStation. Like he finished Ragnarok and Last of Us Part 2, which he never played back in the day. So yeah, he's doing great. But, you know, next time I talk to him, I'll tell him hi for you guys. We got, do you know that Broke Boy Insider? Thank you so much. The super says,
We got to you, buddy. We got to you.
Oh yeah, he's like, yeah, I appreciate you being patient. It's been a minute, been about 20 minutes. He says, Mag, I met Stephanie Panciello, who was Claire Redfield in the Resident Evil 2 remake.
No way.
And Maggie Robertson, how do you say her name? Because you're in love with her, Lady.
Oh, what? Lady Dimitrescu.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, from Resident Evil
Yeah,
Village. He's met all of them at a Comic-Con, bro.
Oh, dude, come on. Really? Resident Evil is my favorite game series of all time, followed very closely by Tomb Raider. Yeah.
Sounds like you need to go to Comic-Con, Mag.
Well, I go to FanFest in Toronto like once every couple of years, but I mean, like if Lady Dimitrescu's there, I will step over children to get to her. Like, without question. I hope she's 7 feet tall, though. I mean, she needs to be 7 feet tall. If she's a regular-sized woman, get out of my life. I want you to be 7 feet tall.
So that you can have your ultimate fantasy review, you know, ravage.
I'm on my eighth playthrough of Resident Evil 2 Remake right now, because I could finish the game in an hour. I finished the game in an hour 47.
Because you know where everything is.
That's how fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. NC in the chat. You have no idea how much it broke my heart to find out that Outdoor Boys retired. I almost cried, man. I almost cried. Outdoor Boys is one of my favorite YouTube channels out there, and he's got like 14.5 million subs, whatever else. Massive presence on YouTube, and he's young, he's about my age, but he's just like, it's too much now, whatever. But Broke Boy saying she's 6'1". Oh my god, that's so hot. Anyways, yeah, I was so sad to see Outdoor Boys retired. That sucks. Anyways, if you haven't seen him, go to his channel, man. The guy's amazing. Anyways, let's get back to gaming. You had more super chats.
You're all hot and bothered about the lady being 7.
Lady Dimitrescu. Actually, and Claire she's really hot too. So especially.
How do you say ladies? It's
Dimitrescu. They don't say.
Yeah, I'm not French.
They don't say Dimitrescu. Like that's how it's spelled. Dimitrescu is how it's spelled, but to say it is Dimitrescu.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Eastern European. My neighbor's Croatian.
Okay. It's Eastern European. Paris is in the chat. Says Marathon has a scarlet letter. It's going to be damn near impossible for redemption.
It is.
Yeah, it just makes me wonder if people just look at all the nasty like discourse and they're like, nah. I mean, if the game's really good, it would win them over.
Well, that's the problem. That's what I was about to say. To Paris's point, is that even if the game is not good, even if the aura around the game is not good and the perception is not good, you're not backing it up with incredible gameplay. Because if you saw, like I said, you saw all those streamers and all the influencers playing this weekend, they're just like, this sucks, right? So you're not backing it up with a quality gameplay. So that's the big problem. That's the bigger problem, because even if someone sits down to play it and you can't play it, or even if you can play it, it's just not good, then it doesn't make a difference. You've lost the gamers on this one, and then you're always gonna have the haters out there anyway for every product. You know what I mean? New Superman trailer drops. You know, all the what the hell is it called? Oh, I can't remember the director of the other ones.
Zack Snyder.
But anyway, Yeah, the Snyder Bros. Then all the Snyder Bros were like downvoting it before they even watched it and stuff like that. That's such a small percentage, right? Same thing in the gaming universe. Something comes out from Sony, people will hate it, will hate click it and downvote it, whatever. Something comes from Xbox, they'll do the same thing, and then Sony guys will come and do that and whatever. But that's a small percentage. But the thing is, if you back it up with a quality product, all that 5%, 10% of those very toxic people will not really have an effect on the product. The problem is, in this case, the product is not good.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't matter who you are, you're all going to have the same opinion.
Yeah, and I have a bias, like that type of game doesn't interest me, and then when I see other people not really excited, it's just kind of like a hopeless thing for me. I don't know. Bungie should have made something else, but you can't go back. Papa Baco, thank you so much for the $20 super. Says, had to send this after the ancestors joke with Mag. Laugh out loud.
That was awesome, Papa Baco. Thank you very much. Maverick, I see what you're saying.
Boner Jams in the
Mag at 20.
Boner Jams in the chat. We appreciate you. Says, here to genuflect at the altar of Colt Winwood and Mag. We are not worthy. Blessings and tidings to the gods of gaming. Hugs and kisses to Steve-O. Yeah, we appreciate you. And hey, if Steven's watching, thank you for watching every single week. I'm going to send you a shirt now that I'm back from out of town and I can sit down and get everything done. But we appreciate you so much. And if your dad's watching, I'm going to put him in a chokehold because he's a jerk and we need to hang out. But anyway,
I don't send my fans shirts because I prefer my fans topless. Carry on.
I love how you were at the Blue Jays game and you were wearing your Mag shirt. You're like, yes, I'm wearing my own merch. I'm like, yeah, you should. And I wore my Colt Eastwood shirt just on the plane. I was wearing like warm up pants and tennis shoes because I wanted to be comfortable on the plane. But yeah, I was rocking my own merch. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna get like one sub from that. I'm gonna be walking through the airport. Somebody's gonna go, what the heck's Colt Eastwood? They won't know. It's whatever.
You know, it's funny when I was buying beer at the ball game. And I'm standing there, I'm there with my son, and then I'm like, here, hold this popcorn, this, and I'm grabbing a beer. And the guy behind the counter looks at the shirt, and he looks at me, and he goes, is that you?
Oh,
and I'm
funny.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's my stupid face, right? But he's staring at the shirt the whole time, and he's just like, is that you? And I'm like, yeah, it's me. And I just started laughing, whatever. I'm like, I don't care. Self-promotion. I really don't care. I think
I don't care.
I do it for laughs, man.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, why not? And I moved some of my merch over to Threadless, and I need to order some more of their stuff. The Colt Eastwood shirt I was wearing is a blue one, and it was very, very comfortable, like a good fit. I hate when I order these shirts and the sleeves like hang out to here or something, but yeah, if you want to check out my merch, I've got everything priced about as cheap as I can do that. So I make like $1 off of each shirt. Some YouTubers sell a shirt for $40. Mine are around $18 or $20. So you can check that out on the link if you want to. I don't push that stuff because, I mean, why not? Why would you want that? But there's some cool stuff there. We've got Broke Boy Insider says, come on, Cole, I sent a $5 for Mag. He'd appreciate it. I'll send it to Mag. I appreciate it. Dustin Howard, thank you so much for the super. Really appreciate you guys' support tonight. And shout out to over 500 people who are watching the show. Hit the like button. We are live on YouTube. This is the Ecstasy Podcast where we cover all gaming news. And we're also on demand on Spotify. So if you're listening in your car, which I've done that a little bit, hopefully the show comes through clear. Mag and I are on Shure SM7B mics, so we want everything to sound fairly decent and not hurt your ears.
Fairly decent. These are the best studio mics on the market.
They are.
It took me like a year to save up to buy this bloody microphone. Simon the Pie Man, you rock, dude.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Hit the like button. We don't often ask. And if you're watching the show and you're enjoying it, you can also send that out to social media or tell your grandma to watch the show and say, come on, Grandma, watch this show. We're going to talk about gaming news. And Dustin Howard says with the super, could Gears of War Reloaded move up 2.5 months and release immediately after the Xbox showcase? If not, I could definitely see them shadow dropping at least a cross-platform multiplayer beta. This is interesting. I don't think they're going to move the release date of Reloaded. Having it come out in August 28th, I think, is a fine time to put that game out. It's kind of at the end of the summer. People are ready to sit down and play games again while their kids go to school. But Randall Thor on his podcast said the same thing. Like, I could see him putting out a beta after the showcase. Yes, I was.
Didn't they do? Sorry, as soon as you said Randall Thor, I got shivers up my spine. Like you said Voldemort's name. You're supposed to, when you refer to Randall Thor on this show, it is he who must not be named.
Oh, right.
From now on.
Yes.
All right?
I'll just I'll give it the kung fu
like,
treatment. So I was talking to my buddy on the phone, and he said on his podcast that I could see them dropping a Gears of War Reloaded beta, and I was thinking, I was in the car listening, I'm like driving, I'm like, because this is how I drive.
Makes sense.
I'm like, what?
That's how you drive?
But I didn't. I was like, why do they need to release a beta? Like, if they're just remastering what's already available on Gears Ultimate, like you could play the multiplayer, it's just gonna be up-resed and no FPS. Like, there's no need for a beta. Why do you need a beta tested on PlayStation or at all? Like, I don't know. I just made this face while I was driving. Like, there doesn't need to be a beta. You just release the game. You don't need people to play test. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. That was my initial response.
They'll do that. You know what? But dude, they did that for Halo Infinite. You remember? You remember after one of the showcases?
Yeah, but Halo Infinite was a brand new game. It was a brand new game, brand new servers, brand new everything.
They're going to launch this. I think they're going to launch this with the same fanfare as a new game. Not as obviously not as, you know, they're not going to have Gears Reloaded on Doritos bags or anything. They're not going all out, but I mean,
I'd love
they
that.
are going to treat this. You never know. Literal table, Rand is not bad. He's evil. There's a big difference. Yeah, pure, unadulterated evil. Anyways, they're still going to launch this as a new game, in my opinion, because like I said, they're launching it on PlayStation day one. So they're going to want the fanfare over there. They're not just going to kind of sneak it under the radar and be like, yeah, well, here you go. You know, they're going to do a thing. So I think at the end of the show, I think he's right. I think that's a good call. Like I said, remember when Halo Infinite came out, they had the team out there. They're like, hey guys, here's all the team. And they're like, by the way, as a little treat, we're doing the the beta, multiplayer launches today or whatever the hell they did. I could see that. It's something they could possibly pull off because they're no longer launching and it was an internal release date, folks, not a public one. But they moved E-Day out of 2025, right? So they're obviously going to give a lot of focus on Gears Reloaded for the rest of 2025, on top of their other offerings like Call of Duty in terms of competitive shooters on the market, right? So they're going to give that. They're going to give it a lot of focus. I think that that'd be a good idea to do a little bit of beta. And like I said, you're going to have cross-platform now. They weren't doing that before, so they're going to have to get that all up and running. It'll be Steam, PlayStation, Xbox day one.
Mag, for once, you might be right. I stand corrected. Like, you probably do need to test the server bear on PlayStation, because you can play this on Xbox and PC, but now you're bringing in 66 or 70 million PS5s. You're going to bring on like 2 million people are probably going to be playing that game. Or at least we're looking at buying it. So, yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How many copies do you think they'll sell on PlayStation? But just ballpark.
Oh my gosh! Right when I said that dropped. How many copies? I don't know. 500,000, 1 million, maybe. I don't know. It might be a big deal. It might be a big deal. It's funny.
I think it'll be a bigger deal than Forza. How many did Forza sell? Didn't they sell 1 million? Or almost 1 million copies?
I can't remember.
Chad, you might be able to help us out. I can't.
Yeah. I need 2 subscribers. I went up to 175 and then dropped down. Crazy, but it'll be up there. It'll be up there. But yeah, I hit 175,000 while we were doing the show.
Hey,
and then it dropped down by 2.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but it'll be back up.
Well, that was me. That was unsubbing to get you back. I wanted to keep your. I wanted to keep you, under my thumb. I'm like, no, Colt's not getting that 175,000.
Right.
I'm unsubbing immediately.
Yeah. Bobby Hawk asks, what size do my shirts sell in? All sizes. They do up to double XL, I think. They're all there. Availability is usually just fine. The Failed Wizard, thank you so much for the $5 super, says, been trapped on a plane for 4 hours due to weather delays. Finally in the air and thankful for amazing content. Cheers. Oh my gosh.
Weather delays, forget it, man. I wouldn't do it. But God bless and enjoy your flight.
Yeah, thankfully you're healthy and happy and safe and in the air. I flew from Washington State to Vegas, and it's about 2.5 hours. But I need to move, I think, because I have to drive over 2 hours to the airport, to the big airport.
What?
Yeah, and so when I got up. Or I went to the airport. I won't bore you, but I went to the airport a couple hours early to make sure that I could get through. And I sat around for an hour, got on the plane. You know, the plane's 2.5 hours, land, haul all the way through, get in my car, drive home for 2.5 hours. And once I get home, I'm like, I'm hungry.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's Henry. Yeah, it
gets a little
Cinnabon
on your way out. What's the matter with you?
Oh, well, I had half a bag of gummy worms waiting for me in the car to keep me awake.
Oh my.
Yeah, I'll never do that again. That just felt yucky eating those.
This is the captain speaking. If you look out the left side of your window, you can see the Gulf of Mag right there. It's been renamed once again to the Gulf of Mag. You can see it right there. There's his face imprinted right into the ocean. Thank you for flying Mag Airlines, and have yourself a wonderful flight. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Love it. Noisy Mofo sends a super chat who won a coin last week, so I need to get your link sent to you. I have to hit up fan art to get that. He says 175,000. Congrats. Yeah, I want to see that number go back up there. Hopefully it does.
Well, I'm gonna
probably dropping. Right, yeah, I'm subbing now. Oh, you fraud!
No, I said I'm unsubbing.
Stop it. Just stop it.
It's at 175. What are you talking about? I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Well, we lost 10 viewers. You see, Colt, it's 100%. We're getting review bombed now. See, we made a couple of jokes.
So,
and that's it.
One of the other topics I had that we kind of started to talk about was Jade Raymond leaving Haven Studios. And I kind of decided I don't want to talk about it because we kind of been riding PlayStation's butt quite a bit, but it's just another problem. And I don't think you were excited about Fair Games. I don't think most people were. The last playtest reportedly was really bad. And I think what they did was they asked Jade Raymond to step down. Somebody must have. I don't know. She runs the studio. Or maybe she's just like, I'm tired of working with you people. You guys suck. This game's no good. I don't know how she steps down from a studio that she founded, but it's not PlayStation's studio. It's just, right? They don't own it. They just partner with it.
That's it. It's just a partnership. They can walk away from that.
Don't let up now. Yeah, right? That's what I was... let's ride PlayStation all the way. Let's ride them raw. No, it's the games industry is rough. One of the other things in our topics list is Microsoft laying off people, which we'll talk about in a minute. But this games as a service, if you had a chance to look at the thumbnail, I took the Fair Games logo and changed it to say Fair Gas for games as a service. Because why not?
Yeah.
PlayStation's just cursed. Like, this isn't even their game. And they're still cursed when it comes to live service. And meanwhile, Xbox has been doing like strictly single player based games over the past 2 years or 3 years. And they've done fairly well with almost all of them. Some things are kind of changing hands, and Xbox is one of the biggest number one publishers right now. And they're not doing it off the back of service-based games because those are lightning in a bottle. Yeah. A Halo since 2005 in the chat says, I'm playing Death Stranding on PS4. It's garbage. Well, if your name is Halo since 2005, hopefully you have a Series S or a Series X. And if you do, I would recommend starting over and playing the game there, because if you don't have a PS5.
There's a director's cutout for the current gen consoles.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I mean, or you just don't like the actual game. Like, I mean, he might just be talking about that.
Yeah, I think
that game is an acquired taste, right? So
it is, and I did love it. I did really, really love it. And I'm trying to decide whether I will jump on day one on PS5 or wait, because that's like a big experience. I'm not sure if I'm ready to do it again. I'm like losing my voice here. Do you know the Broke Boy Insider? Thanks so much for 2. Says Mag dropped a few pics on your Twitter messaging. He says,
what?
Yeah, a few pics. Of Comic-Con. So you need to look at that and make sure the camera is from the waist up
pics.
on
I thought he meant like, you know, those kind of pics. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to see those.
I want to call him Will because he went by Will so long. But Will, send them to me as well. I want to see your Comic-Con pics of meeting people, because meeting famous people is always awesome. I'd love to see those as well.
Well, I met what's his face there, Joel from Last of Us. What the hell's his name?
Pedro, or the PlayStation one?
Pedro, not that guy. The
Troy
one
Baker.
From Troy Baker. Jeez, I couldn't remember his name. Yeah, no, I met Troy Baker. He was he was right there. Dude is like tall.
He's very tall. Yeah.
Yeah,
And he's a great
big dude,
guitar
man.
player and singer too.
And he's got
really
a great
talented.
voice.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. He was behind me. I didn't know he was behind me, and then I heard him talking, right? And he's like talking to somebody else. But because he's a voice actor, and you know that kind of, and like you know, the voice just projects, right?
Yeah.
And so he's talking. He goes, "Well, last Tuesday I was just," and I'm like, "Who's this man's voice I hear behind me?" And then I turn around and Troy Baker's standing right there, and I'm like, "Oh, hi!" Like, what do you say to the guy? It's like, "You're Joel. You're Batman." Like, what else am I gonna say? No, he wasn't Batman. Sorry, my bad. What was he? Was he Batman?
He
Have I
was
gone mad?
He was Batman in. No, he was Joker in Arkham Origins.
No,
wasn't he?
No. That was Mark Hamill.
No, he was in Arkham Origins. I think Troy Baker played the Joker because Mark Hamill didn't do it.
Dude, I'm literally looking him up right now. I think you're right.
Unless I wasn't listening to you
Holy
properly because I'm
crap.
multitasking.
Yeah, me too. I got 3 screens going at once here, and then, but yeah.
Yeah, Troy Baker. I'm pretty sure he did Joker's voice in Arkham Origins.
Yeah. Of course he did Batman. What an idiot I am. Yeah, Batman, Joker. I can't believe he did Joker. Hawkeye, Loki, in various medias.
My
Obviously,
favorite
he did
Troy
Joel,
Baker.
yeah.
My favorite Troy Baker is.
And then of course,
Booker,
Indiana Jones.
Booker DeWitt. Oh yeah, Indiana
Right?
Jones. Yeah, my favorite Troy Baker.
And then of course
would definitely
Indiana
be
Jones,
Booker DeWitt. Is my favorite Troy
Yeah.
Baker. What's your
Really?
favorite Troy Baker character?
I mean,
yeah.
Well, I
absolutely.
gotta say, he did a pretty damn good. He did a pretty damn good job at Harrison Ford.
He did.
Like, I mean, he
did.
nailed he nailed the nuance of like the way that Harrison Ford produces his dialogue, and even like the little words he got like all the little nuances in there. I was like, wow, dude, he really captured that. You know, he actually captured Harrison Ford really well because anybody could do someone screaming. You know what I mean? Like, you get someone do a Schwarzenegger impression. And
you've heard Mark Hamill.
You could do all that shit.
You've heard Mark Hamill do an impression of Harrison Ford when he talks about his hair. Yeah. He nails it. Like they could have had him do it, but the reason why I like Booker DeWitt is because that whole character and the way he portrayed the trajectory of what happened was like so memorable. Even though he did an amazing job as Indiana Jones, but shout out to Umber in the chat who just jumped in. It's good to see you, bro. Let's.
I kept getting him confused with Kevin Conroy. Saying that Chris in the chat just.
Kevin Conroy is Batman.
I kept getting it all mixed up there.
Who did Batman's voice in Arkham Origins? Or am I going to make a dumb moment here? Was that? I could have sworn. That's why I said
Troy Baker did it.
Troy Baker did do the Batman voice in Arkham Origins?
Oh, no, sorry. I was saying, sorry. I was thinking about Troy Baker. I was thinking of Kevin Conroy. Kevin Conroy did not do that, I don't think. I think he only did the actual trilogy.
I'm looking it up now. Roger Craig Smith.
Take a look.
Roger Craig Smith, who's famous
now,
for
what about the
Assassin's Creed.
Injustice?
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see who played Batman in the Injustice series.
Oh, yeah.
It's so confusing.
Oh, it could have been Conroy because he was still kicking butt back then. Let me ask you about Fair Games briefly. I don't want to really just give me your short answer. What's going to happen with Fair Games? Is this game going to get canceled, or are we going to not see it for like 2 years? Are you thinking? I'm away from.
Why? Like, who wants this?
I don't know.
Who wants a competitive heist game? Do you?
No, I don't. I didn't want an extraction shooter either, but I'm just one person. Chat, right to us in the, help Meg out right in the chat. Is Fair Games going to get canceled, or is it going to be like another 2 years before we see it and it just is what it is?
The word was like, I mean, there's not that, there was some stuff talking about it, but like back in September of last year, Sony did talk about it and say that they were actually very positive about the experience that they had seen in the progress of their game.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, cool. And then all of a sudden you find out, like, I don't want to do, like, what was that game that came out? There's a couple of them on Game Pass for a Payday. Remember that? It was like Payday. And then you could play like online with your friends and do heists and things like that.
Yeah.
But then like GTA Online kind of took that over and turned it into a bigger bombastic experience. You remember that when they used to do like DLC events and stuff like that, and they would just be like GTA Online, you're doing a huge heist, but those heists were really involved and like a lot of fun. You got your friends together. It was like you had like a posse, and you're like, all right, guys, how are we gonna do this? Figure it out on a like as if you're like writing out what you're going to do on a blackboard and how this is all going to go down and stuff. And it was kind of cool. I'm not downplaying the game already, but judging by what's happening so far, I mean, you know what I mean? Like when you've got like, I don't know, your team has played 13 games and you lost all 13 games. When you get to the 14th game, what do you start thinking? You think they're going to be like, yeah, they're going to knock this one out of the park. Or you think they're going to lose as well. That's what I'm trying to say. When you start looking at the track record of this games as a service business, when do you draw the line and say, oh, no, this will be the one that makes it? Or this will be the one that succeeds? I don't, that's the problem.
It's almost like the games as service games are just not the right decision. Like, hey, we want to make a game that you can only play online and it just improves over time. And I think the games industry or these studios are going to start to say, look, those don't work. Like they're lightning in a bottle. Like you're lucky if you, how many Power Worlds do you get a year? One, you get one game that's like this thing that just blows up. And the rest of them, like we've seen them time and time again, Rumbleverse, and some of them have done well. It just seems like they're so cursed.
Listen,
so
it's not that they're chasing
Paris says
something
that games
that
as service is peaked. Paris in chat says that games as service is peaked. Like maybe it's reached its apex, its popularity. That's no longer a thing. Like Fortnite we've talked about Fortnite so many times, how Fortnite became an amazing anomaly. And PUBG was also, PUBG's the same thing and it still succeeded, but I don't know. I've just seen so many of them just crash and burn.
It's not worth, like the thing is at this point, I mean, obviously everything goes through phases. It goes through phases, goes through fads. The industry does that. And it's funny because a lot of companies tend to be reactive, but at the same time, which they're not right now, they also tend to be risk averse. This is the one time where they don't seem to be risk averse. They're just very reactive and spending a ton of money chasing something that's already gone. It's like when people tried to buy Bitcoin after it went to $50,000 a Bitcoin or whatever the hell it went up to. It's like you missed the boat.
Yeah.
Go to the next thing. And like I could tell you, because what I've already told you before, like the decentralized money and stuff and all that, whatever. I know the guy who basically practically invented it. And he's like, once it blows up, walk away and look to the next thing. He's like, that's what'll make you a fortune, not chasing what's already been caught. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's like that's like you and I running after a chicken, okay? And you catch the chicken. You go, I got it. And then I come 5 minutes later and I put my hand on the chicken. I go, I got it too. You got it. It's your chicken now. Like it's no point. So the same thing with games as a service. Look for the next thing, not what's already been successful. Because the problem is when you put $200 million and 5 years into the development of a product, it's no longer hot.
It's that timeline.
You missed the boat.
Like they build this game and right here it hits. Like even if it's like something like Power World, right? Like they make this Power World thing and this copy of Pokemon, it's amazing. And some other studios like, we want to do that, but it's going to take them this many years. Like it's over. Yeah,
you missed. It's like Hollywood. You know, you get like one movie that just absolutely strikes gold, and they're like, "Oh my god, people love that. Let's do more of that." And because these people who get paid way too much money don't understand, is by the time you sit down, write a script, do pre-planning, start hiring people, doing principal photography, make the damn movie, editing. The fad is over. It's 3 years later. And everybody's like, bro, that's so cringe. You just released a movie about something that was hot 3 years ago.
Yep.
It's over. So as soon as something gets hot, walk away. Go to the next thing and be like, all right, he cornered that one. Damn you, jerk face. I was going to say something nastier. Damn you, Mr. Jerk Face, for coming up with it before I did. Well, I'm going to get you because I'm going to go try something else. Move on to something else. Or go back to the tried and true that has not failed for damn near 50 years. And that is incredible, immersive experiences that people actually want to play all the time. Not always with their friends, maybe co-op here and there. But people love, yes, there will always be competitive shooters. There'll always be the Call of Duties and the Battlefields and the whatevers out there, right? But people also want experiences that they always want to be able to play. It doesn't have to be monstrous like a $300 million, $400 million AAA product. But if it's something that is enveloping and wonderful, people will go and play it. Your Expedition 33s, your Stellar Blades, you know what I mean? Smaller experience, your Little Nightmares, right? People love those too. I'm not saying go to AA. You could do both, Colt. You can go God of War, Halo.
It doesn't matter. The AA, AAA doesn't matter. The game just has to be good. And the Final Fantasy 16 thing really pissed off a lot of people. And then Expedition's like, we're gonna make a turn-based Final Fantasy game that's not Final Fantasy, and all the fans were like, this is what we wanted.
And you know what gets people to keep going back for more? The gameplay is great in that game. I'm just to be specific, but people also go in there as well because the story is wonderful. The experience is amazing. The music, the atmosphere, the graphics, all that stuff that envelops gamers to sit in front of that television or your monitor for several hours is not just because you're shoot, die, repeat, shoot, die, repeat, shoot, die, repeat. You could do that. And there are people who will do that. There's always a percentage of people out there to do that. But there's a lot of people out there, the tried and true formula will still hold true, that if you put something that is awe-inspiring, that's wonderful, that people really want to get into and play, enjoy, they're at work and thinking about, you know what? Maybe I can get to that treasure if I go on the left side and throw a rope over or whatever. And you're doing all that stuff because it gets into you. Right. And because of that, that has always been a tried and true, and it's always been successful. Don't let anybody tell you whenever all of a sudden, a couple of AAA games don't sell well, the industry's dying. It's not dying. It's just you need to release a quality product that people want, and people will come. It's just like a film. Same thing. I always liken it to film, cinema. People's like, oh, Hollywood's dead. Then all of a sudden, Hugh Jackman comes back as Wolverine and makes $1 billion in the first 2 weeks. People are there and they're starving for this for a great product. You put that product out there, they will be there, and you know what I'm saying? They haven't left. They're still there. They're just quiet. That's all.
Yep.
GAAS is not it.
Xbox's King said that Asmongold just put out a video saying that Marathon is done. I saw Destin say the same thing. Paul Tassi saying the same thing. They would know better than I would. But one
Asmongold is huge. If he says
huge.
It.
And he's usually he usually makes his opinion a very leveled opinion, so he's probably in the realm of correct. But one last piece of PlayStation news is actually really not PlayStation news. It's kind of for everybody. Arrowhead, the developers behind Helldivers 2, had great success last year, but they said they definitely want their next game. It will absolutely be fully multi-platform. They want to make a game for everyone. And it's safe to say that they would have loved for their game to be on Xbox as well as PC and PlayStation, but the IP of Helldivers belongs to PlayStation. So all the Xbox fans, some of these podcasts were like saying that there was like rumors or leaks that Helldivers 2 was going to get a port over to Xbox, and I never believed it for a second because it's an IP that belongs to PlayStation. There's really no need for PlayStation to do that whatsoever. But recently, one of the leaders at PlayStation, Sony, said that their shift has now turned to monthly active users, which is something they already said back in 2019 when Shuhei Yoshida was running PlayStation. He said that monthly active users are the true success, not console sales for the platform. And now they're pushing to that. I don't know why, because they're killing it with consoles. But with their console sales slightly slowing down, they're still one of the top console manufacturers in the world, but they're going to be shifting to monthly active users. Arrowhead's next game will be fully multi-platform. I don't know if their next game will be as well-loved as Helldivers was. And somebody in the chat says, I think it was Sotness, said, let me find it here. Yeah, Sotness says, Helldivers 1 was basically a small indie game, a novel gameplay style, and they repeated that novel style in the second game, and it was a hit. So Arrowhead will be making something for everyone, and I think the future really is less exclusivity. Let me get to Suicide King, who said, thank you for the super, Suicide King. Still rocking the wonderful profile pic I made for him in 2017. One of my favorites. Suicide King says, hey, Colt Mag, very rarely get to watch the show live, so wanted to buy Mag a beer and Colt a root beer as I drink zero sugar root beer. So
I'm drinking water today because I drank enough beer to kill an entire army over the from Friday all the way till last night because all the outdoor work we were doing.
yeah,
Broke boy, I am seeing your pictures right now, and
I wonder if you sent them to me too. No, I don't see them yet. I faltered this weekend and I had like 2 Coca-Colas, which I haven't been drinking.
What?
Yeah. I had 2 Coca-Colas and I had 2 Red Bulls, the small watermelon ones. But I mean, we did a lot. So KY Bob, thank you so much for the super. It says, great time to be a gamer. Exclusives be danged. Every adult enjoying every game and children are still playing Twitter. Love you, Cult Mag. Game on. We appreciate you, KY Bob. Yeah.
Love you too, buddy.
Yeah. I had to.
These pictures are awesome.
Yeah, I want to see them. He says, Cole, I tagged you in a few Comic-Con photos and threads. I'll check those out later so I don't get away from everything else here, but appreciate you so much. Yeah, I had to time out. Somebody was console warring nonstop, saying stupid things. Like, dude, like the console war is so over. It's so over. Like Xbox completely backed out, but we're still having a good time. All right, we've got Microsoft laid off 3% of their employees, which equates to about 6,000 people, even though they hiked their consoles into oblivion, a ridiculous price hike, which is about the most idiotic thing I've ever seen. But there, somebody that works at Xbox told me not everything's connected, but I'm like, it doesn't matter. You're a multi-trillion-dollar company and you're still laying off people. You're bringing up AI so you can get rid of employees. Let me reverse that. You're bringing in AI to help save you money, which will also end up losing employees. I hate to see this. I saw a lot of people damage controlling, and I love how I can scratch my head and not worry about messing up my hair. I absolutely love it. I saw people damage controlling and saying, oh, it's just 3%. It's just 6,000 people. Who cares? I'm like, oh, only 6,000 people lost their job and now have to go find a job in a market which is shrinking around them.
Weird.
It sucks.
Weird.
Yeah.
Who's been talking about this for a year and a half?
Yeah. Well, there you go, man.
Who's been following? Flowers. Who's been trying to tell you? Who's been trying to tell you what they're slowly doing so that you don't notice as much? Who's been trying to tell you that by if you laid off 50,000 people, that would be global news. But if you do 4,000, then 3,000, then sprinkle in 6,000, then sprinkle in 5,000 again, then another 5,000 here and there. Nobody bats an eye. And then before you know it, 250,000 people get laid off at whatever company I'm talking about. I'm not talking specifically about Microsoft. I'm saying, and all of a sudden you don't even realize what had just happened. And then everything is autonomous at that point because then the majority of the work is being run by AI. And then you've got a small skeleton crew, just like Twitter. Twitter X is run by a small skeleton crew and everybody else is let go. The rest is run by AI with supervision, of course, human supervision. That's how all of them are going to end up. And that's what's going to happen. So now the bigger thing is when it comes to something like this, Colt, is that the humans are going to have to figure out what they're going to do in the future when everything is autonomous and all of a sudden we're just wandering around. So we're just wandering around with no work unless you are something that cannot be replaced by AI, cooking, I don't know. I can't even think of anything else really because flying, driving, trains, even stocking shelves in stores will all be robots. We'll all be autonomous.
There's a difference between AI and automation, but they are working in concert.
It's still synonymous.
Yeah.
It's synonymous with each other because they're all being run by the same thing. The robots will be run by an AI program. That's already happening now. As you look at like car manufacturers, everything else. Microsoft, no different. So you could look at that and say, well, profits are up at Microsoft, but they fired 6,000 people or whatever. The gaming division is making a lot of money, but they fired 6,000 people. They're not related. All it is that they're letting these people slowly but surely go as they invest more into the AI and more into the infrastructure, which they already have. They all have it. They've all invested billions into this, every single one of these companies. And what they're doing is they slowly start releasing these people. So the profits or whatever mean nothing. And it's not they're not in tandem with each other. Like, for example, I see people screaming saying the CEO made this much, and they fired 10,000 people. I'm like,
he always makes that much.
He always makes that much. And the other thing is too is that they still need a CEO, but they no longer need people to, whatever, color trees in a game or whatever, or fill in the backgrounds or color this or doing the lighting effects for one of that.
Microsoft just said that 70% of their programming is done by AI or some wacky number like that last week.
Well, it's going to get higher.
Yeah, it's going to get higher.
And I don't want to
dwell on the AI stuff or the layoffs.
No, we're not.
Because it's part of the cycle. Meg and I wanted to make sure we air our grievances about these scummy corporations, putting people out of work. It really sucks. But one of the other concerns that came up this week was with Doom: The Dark Ages. It's slightly rated lower than Doom Eternal. It's just above Doom 2016, which surprised me. I didn't realize Doom 2016 was in the lower end of an 80. I think it's like an 84 or something. And right. Doom Eternal or Doom: The Dark Ages is an 85, and then Eternal is closer to an 88.
What is Dark Ages sitting at right now? Sorry,
I think it's an 85 on OpenCritic. Do you want me to hit it?
85. Doug, I'm not a prison chef. He always calls me a prison chef.
It's an 86 right now, so it's gone up a point. So it's 95% recommended. So this new thing of checking Steam charts is really like blown up over this past.
I noticed that
a year or two, like at least a year. Like it's always been a thing, but over the past year, a lot of people. I'm gonna make sure I get this as on my timestamp. Yeah, a lot of people have been looking at Steam charts to gauge how crappy or how successful the game is when it blows up on Steam, for how many concurrent people or how many peak people are playing. Doom: The Dark Ages is only topped out at 31,000 people at once playing the game on Steam. Well, there's many answers to that, and one of them is that this Doom game out of the trilogy released on Game Pass, but it's also on Battle.net. And I thought, well, okay, Battle.net is not super big, is it? And I was told that Battle.net has 40 million concurrent users on Battle.net, and having Doom: The Dark Ages on Battle.net is a big access that pulls people away from playing the game on Steam. And I always think, as me being playing a ton on PC, that most people would just choose to buy their games in one place, and Steam is just a great centralized place where you can buy just about every game. But I'm going to tell you that with Battle.net and with Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass, I would not believe everything you're hearing about Doom: The Dark Ages not doing as well as it has, because there's a pretty good chance that the Xbox PC app, which is where I play a lot of Xbox's games, is a lot bigger than we think. And I think that people are probably playing a ton on Game Pass, and which, is still a great thing because Xbox is growing that platform. But I wouldn't count out Xbox's platform when it comes to Xbox Game Pass or Xbox PC is what they call it. I know Tom Warren made a big hairy deal about that the other couple weeks ago, that Xbox used the label Xbox PC. Like, what does this mean? I'm like, well, since 2019, that's what it's been called. I am just going to tell you that everything cannot be looked at on Steam. I think Doom: The Dark Ages is doing really, really well, and people looking at one metric is going to be their downfall, because it certainly does not mean that's how a game is a success or not. So Doom: The Dark Ages is doing really, really well. I didn't fall in love with the game. I gave it an 85 because the combat was so solid. It was just a fun, no frills campaign, except for the dragon and the Titan. I just didn't really enjoy that. Other than that, it was just a great Doom game. I would put 2016 at my top, Eternal second, Doom: The Dark Ages at 3, but you're talking about 3 amazing games. And you and I know, Mag, that when you're talking about a game that's at like a 80 or an 85, when people like to use that as a cutoff, those no longer are good. An 85 is an amazing game, and I really enjoyed it. And I talked about it a lot and didn't even show footage today because people are still playing it. So I don't know. Doom: The Dark Ages is doing really, really well. Your thoughts, Mag, on that, or you have any opinion on that?
Yeah, I have brief thoughts on that. This metric of Steam, concurrent users, whatever else. Yes, it gives you a small sampling of what everybody else is doing. They don't consider different, like you were saying, it was on BattleNet as well. You're not considering, well, see, the problem is Xbox doesn't help themselves either by not giving any metrics. So when people go look at metrics, the only thing they find is they can find Steam concurrent users. So Xbox is to blame entirely for not sharing any of their numbers. So people start running off with different narratives, and then it makes you look bad, right? And as a result of making you look bad, was like, well, you only got yourself to blame because you keep hiding your numbers. Why are you hiding your numbers? If you're proud of what's going on, say, hey, we got 4 million people playing it, not people who turned it on, right? Not people who downloaded it, not people who clicked on the bloody tile. The actual playing the game. We have this many people playing this game right now. If you have a solid product and a quality product that people want to play, then people are going to be playing it. At that point, then you should be showing it. I don't know what you're hiding. By doing that, you're not helping yourself. Do we even know how many it sold on PlayStation? Because PlayStation is the market leader. How much did they sell? That'd be a good litmus test to see how many's going on over there.
2 to 3 times more than on an Xbox, I would guess, right?
Well, yeah, because you've got Game Pass, right? I mean, why would you buy it for $100+ when you could play it on the service that you have, presuming you have the service, right? And then I look at the same thing, but see that now I've gotten a lot of note from people who said, there's a lot of people sending me message saying, I really want to play it. They don't have Game Pass, right? I say, I really want to play it, but I'm not paying $100+ for Doom. I'll wait. And so you're probably going to get a big surge. Let's say it goes on sale because it's in Game Pass, right? When that'll go on sale actually probably quicker than most because it is available on a subscription service already.
Hold on.
I would imagine by the end of the summer. Sure.
I love to slap people. Do you like slapping people, Mag?
I don't do it because
I
would slap somebody. Like, I mean, I'm really strong. So if I slap somebody, I
want you to slap this guy. Gaming Lifestyle says Microsoft really did lay off 6,000 people. No one's talked about this yet. Go ahead, slap him. Slap him.
We just did. Game Lifestyle. He was probably peeing while we were talking about it.
He's probably sitting while he did it. Gaming Lifestyle, Maverick, you are so annoying, bro. Like, take example from the rest of our amazing chat. They hang out. They enjoy gaming. They have thoughtful, insightful, reasonable things to say. Take a page from them and enjoy the show. Like, we love to have you here. Don't be a dimwit, as Booker DeWitt would say.
He was on a break. He just said it. He said I was on a break.
Dude, do your breaks with the show on. It's not that
First
hard.
of all, there's no breaks. Yeah. There's no breaks during the show.
He hassled us. He was hassling us like the whole show. No one's talking about 6,000, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, it's in the topic list. We'll get to it when we get to it. There are 3 topics we won't even get to today because the show, we don't like to do a 4-hour show. We love it.
No, it's nonsense. If you can't say it in 2 hours, don't say it at all.
Booker catch. Yeah, I know that's true. I'm sorry, I went back. So you were. I interrupted you. You were saying
I was talking about the metrics.
How Xbox won't report it, and it doesn't make it any easier.
So Xbox doesn't report it. So that you take away that. The only thing that they have to work with is Steam, right? So you're working with Steam there, and I'm like, okay, well that's one aspect. So now if you start breaking it down, you've got Game Pass is one aspect. You've got Steam as another. You have Battle.net as another. You've got people who actually purchase the game on Xbox. That's another. People who purchase on PlayStation. That's another. That's 5. So you've got 5 avenues of revenue here. Revenue? That's pretty funny. You got 5 avenues that you can actually go down in terms of revenue stream. And all they're doing is you're just looking at the one and saying, well, the game's a failure. And I'm like, that's not...
It is your easily reportable number because Steam's massive and they're fully transparent with the Steam database. So I get it.
But that's 1 out of 5. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying, I understand.
Expedition
Game Pass is nowhere near.
33 was available on 4 of those platforms: PlayStation, Xbox, Game Pass, and Steam. Expedition 33 was not available on Battle.net, but Battle.net's pretty big. I didn't realize that how many people were on there buying games, but there's a chunk of people probably want to buy as many games there as they can, but who knows? Who knows?
But you see what I'm saying, though? I mean, yes, I understand Steam is huge. And obviously Steam is much bigger than Xbox, is much bigger than Game Pass, and, of course, the Xbox ecosystem on top of that.
Sure.
So, yes, that is a fairly larger metric than those two right there. But you also got PlayStation in there as well, right? And PlayStation is a huge marketplace as well. So, maybe just wait to see. And first of all, second of all, what's the difference? I mean, does it affect, people looking for ammunition for some kind of a fight or this and that?
Yes.
Like, go out, if you enjoy the game, go enjoy the game, play the game, have fun, engage with it, and then just move on with your life. Like,
to be fair, Mag, like Doom is a massive franchise. And then when they look at that number, they're like, doesn't add up. Like, why isn't that blowing off the page like Kingdom Come Deliverance or Expedition 33? Like, look at those games. It's like it had more Dragon Age of Veilguard had more players than Doom on Steam. So I can understand people questioning it, but I think you nailed it. They want undeniable proof or confirmation bias that platform that they don't like didn't cut the mustard. I'll talk like an old man for a second. Doom the Dark Ages is a success. That's the end of that story. I want to talk about something that you and I really want to talk about. And I'm going to make a definitive statement because my opinion right now, Mag, is that it is definitive that we are going to be playing Grand Theft Auto 6 May 26th because Strauss-Zelnick said we historically do not delay the game once we've had a date. And I'm like, yes, you do. You have done this. You have given a date for Red Dead Redemption 2 and then moved it to October. I'm pretty sure you did. Yeah. And I think you had a date for Grand Theft Auto 5 and moved it 3 to 6 months.
Yes, you did. But I have the poster. I have the original GTA 5 poster with the original release date, and then they delayed it 6 months to September.
Okay, so he lied.
I have the original poster with the date printed on it. Yep.
So is it smart for me to make a definitive personal opinion that they're not going to miss that May date after all we know? I don't know. I just have this feeling that they said that they were trying to get the game out in November of 2025, and no one there thought that they were going to meet that, so they asked for another 6 months. So the game's already been delayed 6 months. Everything stacks against us that it's coming out in May, but I'm just going to say, you know what? I think they're actually going to hit it this time. I have this feeling out of no insight. It's 1 year away, that we're going to be playing it in the spring of 2026, and I can almost taste it. What are your thoughts, Mag? What do you think is going to happen?
I'm going to give you my thoughts in 30 seconds. It's a year away. There's no point in even talking about GTA 5 anymore, or GTA 6 anymore at this point. I'm just like, I don't care. It's so far away that, like, what's the point?
Meg said on Twitter, shut up. Tell me when it's 3 days away.
When it's 3 days away, call me, man.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. It's so far away. We have so many other games to play and so much more life to live outside of the gaming universe. What
are you going to be alive by
does
then?
It make a difference? Obviously, it's going to be more than alive. I'm going to the World Cup next year because it's going to be in Toronto.
Oh, bro.
Well, part of it, the World Cup is in Toronto. I'm already thinking about that, but I'm not sitting up at night with a candle in my window going, World Cup, World Cup, World Cup, World Cup. It's 13 months away.
You don't have like a Lucia candle in your window, and she's like,
yeah, well, I got some pictures of Lucia.
Did you know that did you know that the most watched part of those two trailers, trailer 1 and 2, was the girl in the white bikini, which I'll have to go back. I don't think I've seen that part. And then the trailer 2 was Lucia walking in the gold dress. Like, that was like the most, like, everyone rewound there, Oh,
wow. Isn't that weird? Entertainment industry?
Isn't that?
Sex doesn't sell.
Well,
how strange. Who would have thought? Put more clothing on women, because that's what men are looking for. Who are your number one customers? Go to Instagram, where everybody's 3/4 naked and they got way more engagement than your crappy shows and your movies and your video games. Weird how anyways. Weird, isn't it? Idiots. Activists. Anyways, I'm not thinking about it, dude.
Happy Mom says the girl in the white bikini is in so many of your thumbnails. I'll have to go back and check. I'll have to go back and look at that.
I'm going to put them in every single one of my thumbnails from now on. I'm going to put the girl in the white bikini with my face on it.
Your next Grand Theft Auto video, which you're not going to make it till 3 days before launch because you don't care.
3 days before launch.
Then put the bikini girl in there. I'll have to see if I can find that image. I'm not familiar with it, but you said it yourself, Mag. You said they have 1 year. So I know that people say they're only delaying it 6 months. He said November. They're delaying it 6 months. They don't need 6 months. They have a whole year. That's how I'm looking at it. Like the game comes out May 26th, so they have an entire year to get the game to where they wanted it in November, plus an additional 6 months. Is that me being really overly optimistic, or am I being a little bit?
I think they hit the target.
Tell me.
I think they hit the target. I mean, people are not going to keep waiting for. I mean, people have been waiting forever, but I mean, there is a breaking point, and yes, people will obviously buy it no matter what happens. But like, enough's enough, guys. Like, get this game. Like, figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, figure it out. Like, how many years do you need? But however, it's not been 13 years in development. I should actually put that in perspective a little bit, because Strauss did say it actually only went into active development in like late 2019 or 2020.
2020.
So it's only been like, a 5-year cycle, which is actually pretty common for most AAA games anyway.
Mag,
so that being the case,
we're looking at probably sets us up for so much disappointment. But you're probably looking at one of the best single player campaigns in years. That's the potential that this game has. Like, we already know the writing is probably where it needs to be. It's not going the wrong direction. So Grand Theft Auto 6's experience of a story-based game is going to be one of the great watermarks of our time. It's going to be amazing. And just saying that can totally curse it, but I mean, the game looks incredible. Like, just the detail and everything we've heard. Like, the wait is crazy. But we have an incredible experience with the Mafia, the Old Country's coming out in a couple months or 3 months.
There's so many games. I'm not even thinking about GTA 6 anymore. It's
probably
done. As soon as they delayed it to May 26th, I reported on it, and that was it. I moved on to the fact they're working on the Grand Theft Auto 4 remaster port, whatever the hell they're doing there. Red Dead Redemption is getting a current gen update. That they're talking about that, and obviously they have 2 new games coming out: Old Country and Borderlands 4 coming out this year.
Let me ask you real quick.
So, I'm focusing on that.
Are you interested in playing through or just testing out Grand Theft Auto 4 and Red Dead 2's patch or remaster thing?
If it's amazing, it won't be. Then I would absolutely play it.
It won't be. It'll just be slick, and it'll be a nice package. But are you going to load up Grand Theft Auto 4 and see how it feels, or are you going to be like?
I loved Grand Theft Auto 4.
I did too.
I loved it. And I played all the DLC. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll take a look and see how it plays and see how it is before I drop any hard-earned cash on something like that. Red Dead Redemption 2, I have a problem with as a completionist because they tied a lot of achievements and trophies to the online, to Red Dead Online. And it's like, that's really stupid. I mean, I understand what you're trying to do because you're trying to get completionists to engage in the online portion. But if it's dead and no pun intended, and then if you re-release this game or whatever and people can't complete it, there's a lot of people out there who like those completions and be like, nah, I'm not going to go back and do that if I can't complete it other than just doing the story. Like, I might just load it up and just fart around with it for a little bit and be like, all right, let me see what they did. It's an incredible game. One of the most amazing achievements in gaming history is Red Dead Redemption 2.
And I just replayed it at the beginning of 2025. Amazing experience. Amazing. DeMarco, dude, such a great comment he just left in the comment section. I love this guy. Shout out to him and check out his, he's part of the Renegade Realm podcast on Tuesday afternoon. So check him out. DeMarco dude says the CEO has no idea if they need to delay or will delay it. They know how big this game is and they know how much money it'll make. He's so right. And I should have said that. I'm such a fraud because when Strauss is like, I don't think we need another delay. I'm like, you only know that based off of the project manager and the director you're talking to. Like if the director's like, oh no, I think we're going to hit it. And then Strauss is like, no, we're good. And the only one who knows that answer is someone probably this coming November, if they're going to make that May window or not. And I appreciate you, DeMarco. But either way, I'm still hyped. There's so many great games to play. And This has been an excellent show, Mag. I appreciate you hanging out with me. It's good to be home. And
that flew by very quickly.
Yeah, it did.
But it's fireworks time up here in Canada, so I have to bail, folks. It's time
Mag
to blow up
light
a bunch
something
of
on
stuff.
fire.
I gotta go light stuff on fire now.
Your neighbor's roof on fire. Tell everybody what you've got coming for the channel, what content to look out for. I've got your link to subscribe in the chat.
Yes.
So,
this week we're going to see how it goes. I have, believe it or not, even I have a boss, and my boss is going to be spending the next 3 days with me. So I'm going to be incredibly busy with him, dealing with some stuff as I'm trying to acclimatize him to his new position. They sent him to me. So I will be dealing with that. But outside of that, we're going to see what happens to see if any big gaming news comes on. I'm always good for at least 2 videos a week on my channel. Right now, streaming is kind of on the hiatus. I just haven't had the time. And but once I get that streaming back, I'm going to be back there on a regular basis and doing that and getting involved with the community. But you can find me, The Mag Show. You can find me there. You can see the links will be in the chat, and the links will be, of course, in the comments after, or in the description afterwards. That's where you can find me there. You can find me on Twitter, PlayStation, Xbox. And by the way, on PlayStation and Xbox, I saw so many more people adding me over the last little while. Just it's constant. Every single day, just new people adding me. It's wonderful to see everybody in the community getting together. And I answer as many messages as I can. It's great talking to everybody and seeing everybody from all these different walks of life. I do have one caveat, though. Please, if you're adding me on PlayStation, don't do it as a close friend. I will refuse those because then it reveals my information, my full information, where I live and my name.
Yeah.
And there's no way you could do anything about that, like my real name and all that stuff. So I don't accept those. So just add me as a friend and I will do that. I unfortunately, I have to decline the ones that try to put me as a close friend. But either way, we'll be here next week.
He
declined We're gonna have an
me too.
Show again. I
yeah.
decline cold anyway.
Yeah.
But either way, we're going to have an awesome time. Everybody have yourself a wonderful gaming week. Chat, you're always amazing, and you never fail to make me laugh and have a great time. And Colt, as always, buddy, we'll be talking, and we'll do this real soon.
I appreciate you guys. Go check out my video about the Xbox showcase. The title says everything revealed, and what I mean is everything that Xbox has revealed that could possibly be at the show. Thankfully, nothing up to this point. By now, by about this week, Mag, there would have been a fake leak list, a semi-real list, and a couple of turd nuggets that like roll in like that that would reveal what's going to be at the showcase. Nothing is leaked so far. So if you want to check out everything that Xbox has in the roadmap and a couple of you're not supposed to know about these games that have been kind of public knowledge, I cover those in the video with mostly all gameplay and a couple of surprises in there. So check out that video. That's on my channel. I didn't do a gaming weekly news video last week because I was prepping to leave out of town, but thank you everybody for checking out everything that I'm doing there. And thank you, Happy Bomb, for putting that in the chat. You guys are amazing. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate your support. And I will be picking Doom coin winners from last week's show. And you can still go to last week's show. I think it's got the big Xbox white handheld on it. You can go there and leave a comment about the Doom coin, and I will be selecting the winners there. So have a great week, guys. We appreciate you. Be safe out there with the fireworks. Don't put the Roman candles down the front of your pants, Mag. We're out of here. And go sub to Mag. He's great, and he's sexy. Have a good one. Bye, Mag. Wait, where's the button? Oh, there it is. Bye.